Hello humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. Arcade 1-Up, the community, their social media is on fire, is on shambles. Guys, this is nothing new at all. When you have a company such as Arcade 1-Up that doesn't value its social media presence, that doesn't see it as a source of revenue, you're going to have this outcome. What you have in Arcade 1-Up is a perfect example of how your company can lose reputation, lose money, lose prestige, all right, by not having a cohesive social media policy that is enforced and backed up with money. At the end of the day, this is Arcade 1-Up's fault for not putting the resources into their PR, into their social media departments, because they don't see it as valuable. At some point they will. Once they start losing money, right? Once people don't want to be associated with them, then they're going to start putting money in it. But now you're being reactionary instead of proactive. And that's always a bad position to be in. It never had to be that way. And the outcome that you have is what's going on now. Now, let me say this. I'm not going to mention individuals at all because my company has a very robust social media policy, right? And unless I'm talking about an individual of a business, of a product that I purchased, or a company where I'm, talking about the company itself, public figures, that kind of stuff, we don't comment on individuals, period, right? We don't comment on things that might be super controversial. Your job, when you're at your company and you have a robust social media policy, you don't go into those areas, number one. Number two, it is your job to promote your company in the best light possible so you don't have misinformation, so you don't have toxicity in communities, so you do establish communities, right, where your fans can go and interact, and anybody that's not part of those communities, right, that they're on the fringes of, whatever fandom you're trying to promote within your products. But that takes money and resources, things that Arcade 1-Up has never, ever put into place within their company. It's always been the same. You don't see, for example, Phil Spencer out there arguing with YouTubers that don't like his products, a la John D. You never see that, right? You never see that from Sony, right? You don't see, you pick another company, PlayStation or Nintendo, make videos about the CU podcast, for example, because they don't like their products, like Tommy Tallarico did. Because social media policies, when they're very robust, they tell you one thing and one thing only, right? Your opinion on X, Y, or Z subjects should be shut your pie hole. You have no opinion, right? Because that's what's going to keep your company in the best light possible. There's always going to be people on the internet that don't like you, right? And especially on YouTube is a place for attention whores, right? You say whatever's going to attract the most eyeballs. And when it comes to your company, if you don't have a message out there, right, like Arcade 1-Up doesn't, then it leads to misinformation, it leads to false stories, it leads to association with people you may not want to, because all you have is loose relationships with people you don't vet. Again, all these things take money, right? Why doesn't this happen to Nintendo, for example? Well, Nintendo has its own proprietary means of communication. They have their own events, they have their own podcasts, they have their own ways of disseminating information straight to their public, including social media. Now, when I say that you have to spend money on this, you do. I mean, it has to be part of your budget. I mean, it doesn't mean that it has to be unlimited but you have to take it seriously, right? When we go through training, right? I just had another training over this weekend because as we're speaking now, I'm driving to a new office because, as I told you, there was consolidation, there was restructuring, aka there was a bunch of layoffs. Now I have to drive an hour to go meet with people that all of a sudden are working without half their colleagues, and we don't know each other. So that's where I'm going right now. And because of that, it's policy of the company to take another refresher course. So that's what I was doing this weekend. This company, other than what's mandated through the state, they don't have a department like that. You don't have a professional YouTuber. Even if you think about the YouTubers now, right? And think about the Arcade 1-Up YouTubers, whoever they may be, right? Is there one good enough to pay a salary if they would take the job? Not just some guy that wants to be popular, right? Not some guy that just wants attention. Somebody who has the chops. Maybe somebody who has a little bit of a journalistic or media background, so you can make a professional and say, okay, you are going to run our X, Y, or Z professionally, or hire a firm and do those things. Because if you don't, this is what you create by not spending money, by just giving people cabinets that you don't vet. You don't know who you're giving cabinets to, right? You don't know who you're giving cabinets to, and all of a sudden they're fixing contests. They're chasing people's wives. They're hitting them on the. You don't know what these people can do because you never vetted them. You're going based on views. A lot of people get views. It doesn't mean they're great, right? You can put a brand new e-girl who's very cute that knows nothing about video games. She's going to get a lot more views than some guy that knows really about arcades and modifications or whatever it is. Right? So it's not just about getting the views. It has to be a combination of both. You have to be able to get views, get your message out there in a professional manner, but that takes money. That takes leadership. That takes somebody actually having the responsibility of taking care of those things. And then when it comes to Arcade 1-Up, they're flying by the seat of their pants. They are. They're just asking people, can you make a review on this? Can you make a review on that? That's not it. That is not it at all. You need production dollars behind these things. And if you don't have them, it's really better just to shut up, because then you just have, the opinions of YouTubers out there, but you don't have an official policy from the company per se, right? You don't have to worry that somebody's going to misinterpret your words, or you don't have people out there arguing, fighting in a manner that you don't want your company represented. But you have to think that YouTube is the second biggest search engine. The second. Companies don't take this seriously enough. Google's number 1, YouTube is number 2. And when you search for Arcade 1-Up, when the average Joe searches Arcade 1-Up, what results are they going to get? If that was your company, are those the results you want? I'm not making this video just to, crap on Arcade 1-Up. They can choose to do whatever the heck they want to do. But if you're out there and you want to start your own business, this is going to be your responsibility too. Especially the smaller the business, the more important it is that you have all these things buttoned up. And you don't have to hire an outside company. It just has to be you, right? You can study up on this stuff. This is readily available. You can make yourself knowledgeable if you want to start a business, and put a policy in place that is going to build your company, not destroy it. Not destroy it, right? Not destroy your reputation, not lose yourself money. Because once again, when I ask you to think about Arcade 1-Up, what is the first thing that comes to mind? Number 1. Number 2, if you're starting a channel today, right? If a friend asks you to start a channel, hey, I want to start a channel, would you recommend them to start with Arcade 1-Up? I wouldn't. I sure as hell wouldn't. Right? That's where they've gotten to. And the sad part is, this is a company that had success and threw it all away. Why? The company this is in the financial state it's in, well, that's a whole different conversation. But as far as its reputation, it absolutely 100% has to do with leadership, the lack of leadership, in fact, in them not having a social media policy that's robust, and them not spending the money on people that are qualified to deliver their message online. All right, humans, I hope you have a great week. I hope you have a productive Monday. Thank you so much for listening, for subscribing. I will catch you on the next one. Hey, hit that like button for me before you leave. Take care.